value behind Travel on Purpose is that we want trips to be a learning journey, a culturally immersive experience. We want to show up in countries with humility and with curiosity. Kind of like you would go as a guest in somebody's home. We want to show up in a way that respects their culture, their heritage, their traditions, and really is there to learn. And so we try to set aside things like comfort as much as we can and just go ready to experience whatever that destination has for us.
That's amazing. Yeah. And it's cool that you talk about kind of putting aside a sense of comfort because as I mentioned in the intro, your goal isn't to have it be seen as primarily a vacation. It's more of a learning opportunity, right?
It is. It is. And it's, we walk a little bit of that fine line because it is a vacation too. I mean, people are signing up to do trips that are taking them to some of the world's most spectacular destinations. And we do love nice hotels.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? I mean, I'm basically designing the trip that I would want to go on. So
there you go.
We are staying in nice places, but it's really important to us that we keep the money in the local economy.
Yes.
So we're staying in boutique hotels. Sometimes they are historic properties that have been restored, but we're always looking for those unique places where we have a chance to support the local economy, get to know people. And so, we want to be comfortable, but at the same time, we also want to be okay to let go of some of our comforts. And so sometimes that's a little bit of a fine line. What does that exactly look like? In some of the destinations that we go to, giving up some of our comfort means that, maybe things aren't exactly as we expect them to be if we were at home.
Yeah.
But again, that is what it's like to be a guest in somebody else's house.
That is a very good point. And kind of on the line of how you're trying to cultivate an experience of learning as well, learning other people's culture. You say that travel is the best teacher. So what are the most important lessons that travel can teach each of us?
Oh, yeah. Travel can teach us a lot of things. I think that there is no substitution for an in-person experience. And you can read about places, which is good. You can watch documentaries, but there's no teacher like the travel experience, like the ability to actually step foot in those destinations. And I think what is especially meaningful as an educational experience is that we want to learn from local people. So when you go to a place and trips are set up with a lot of intentionality, then you have a chance to walk alongside a local historian, a local storyteller, go into somebody's house and learn their personal history and story. And so in those ways, it's such a rich educational experience, unlike anything that you can have if you don't actually go.
I mean, even practical things that we can learn traveling globally. When I started traveling globally for work, I noticed how quickly you learn patience, understanding, like even just getting through customs, also experiencing just how understanding I think people across the world can be of like, I think if anything, they're just happy that people are willing to come and experience another place and another culture. And patience is actually given a lot more than not. Well, a big part of your mission, Diane, is helping people learn from communities outside the West, just like we were talking about. So what does it practically look like to travel in a way that prioritizes listening and learning from others? So maybe you can kind of talk about like, what does a trip look like? How are you learning from those other people on the ground?
Yeah, okay, that's a great question. And it's honestly something that I've learned over the years. So I started Travel on Purpose about 5 years ago. So it's a newish venture. I have a background in education and travel writing and nonprofit work. And so this is kind of the culmination of this, kind of second half of my life. One of the things that I've learned over the years is that when I first started, I anticipated that I was going to design a trip and build the trip. And then we were going to, put all the pieces in place. And then we're going to go and have this experience. And something that I have learned over the process of these years is that we have to involve the local voices very early on in the process. Otherwise, the result is completely different. Because if the goal is to go and to learn and to let our hearts be broken open with compassion,
Yes.
to understand the complexities of a place's history and whatever social injustices they face and all the different things that we can do. Yes, let's go learn the beauty, but let's learn all of it. Let's understand a destination in all the ways that we can.
Yeah.
Then we can't really do that without involving local voices from the beginning. So, I mean, this has not just been a recent development. This has been something we've been doing for the past few years now. But when I get ready to build a trip, I reach out to our local partners first, and we start to imagine what that trip will look like. Some of our destinations, I'll just give you an example. One of our first destinations that is one of the places we continue to go back to again and again is Guatemala. It was our very first women's tour in 2021 to Guatemala. And that trip has really evolved into something that's quite beautiful that I'm really proud of today. And it's really built on so many relationships and partnerships. And I think of everyone from Anita, a wonderful Guatemalan woman who lives in a village in the highlands who offers a cooking class for her Mayan culture. And she invites us into her home.
Wow.
And she takes us to the market so we get to experience what it's like to go to a traditional market where you don't really see other tourists, but this is where the local people come to get their groceries each day. Wow. And to be able to go through and learn about maybe some produce we've never seen before, to understand the supply chain, to understand challenges that exist there, but then to go back to her house and to then cook up some of these recipes. And not only that, but also to hear the history of the recipes with her family.
That's amazing.
So Anita is somebody who has found great success in this area. She's like number one on TripAdvisor.
Wow.
She's over the years, she's really built up a business for herself.
Incredible.
And she has paid it forward. So she has realized that this gift that she's been given, she has to pay it forward for others who are less advantaged in her community. And so she started a cooperative for a group of women who are single mothers, and they get together and they do the weaving with the backstrap loom, the very traditional Guatemalan weaving. And so back to the question of letting local leaders lead, talking with Anita about, we would love to come and spend a day with you. And instead of me saying, this is what I want, this is when we're going to arrive, this is what we want to do, that would be the wrong approach for me. The right approach for me and for my guests who are going to go and travel with me is to say, Anita, we want to come and spend a day with you. And what would you like us to learn about your community and about your culture and about your own personal history and your family and about the women you're serving? And how do you want that to look, and what do you want us to walk away with when we're done with the experience that day? And I find that brings such a richer experience, not just for us, but also for her.
Yes.
Realizing that we are just two women. We care about a lot of the same things. We're both building our businesses.
Yeah.
And I care about her, and I know she cares about me. And those are the kind of relationships that I'm so privileged to have. And I can think of those types of relationships that I have across about a dozen countries now. So I love it. And they are the best teachers for their places where they live, where they've lived their whole lives, and they understand so much more than we do. So let them lead the way.
Yes. I think there's a difference between learning culture and experiencing culture. And I think that you're doing a good example of including both in these trips, but more heavily leaning on the learning, because that's what you're going to take home. I'm sure you'll mention this later on, but your goal is to not have these women stop desiring to learn about culture when they get home, but how can they be influenced to continue to make a difference for people across the world when they get home? That's the thing that you want to get them home with.
Absolutely. Because these trips are fun. They're memorable. they're all the things. But if at the end of the day, all we've done is entertained ourselves, if there's no result that is tangible and makes the world a better place, then I'm not sure they're worth our time and our resources. So I think that's very important.